All right, yeah, I'm recording. Good evening, everybody. We're going to start. We only have 15 persons, but as I was saying to Mr. Duncan, I believe in honoring the people who are here on time. So, the APA style has said, and I quote, APA style is used by writers in many disciplines around the world for concise, powerful, and persuasive scholarly communication. End quote. As young scholars, you need to master proper referencing and citation. So the HRD unit is delighted to have Mr. Adrian Duncan here to help us. Mr. Duncan is a librarian at the Law Branch Library of the University of the West Indies Library System. He is the liaison librarian for the Department of Sociology, Psychology, and Social Work, of which we are a part. And he is also the Hall of Residence librarian for Taylor Hall. I didn't even know that Taylor Hall was that progressive, but that's what he is as well. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Duncan to the HRD unit and in thanking him for taking time out of his rest, because this is Friday evening and I know it is a rare rest day for all of us. And Mr. Duncan is here as well to help us. So please join me in welcoming and thanking him. Mr. Duncan?
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Let me start by just starting light. So let's work our way into it. So I'll give you a brief insight as to the roles of the liaison, and then we'll progress into academic writing, predatory journals, and by extension, APA citation. So first, the role of the liaison is to assist staff with their course, and basically, let's put it in a nutshell. Lecturers would be in the online sphere that we're now lecturers would now need to liaise more with the library for them to give access to open educational resources, to use the resources of the library. By extension, ULink, that's our online platform that gives access to all the holdings of the university, as well as to procure material for course delivery. Now, there's a little difference with the liaison program, because the liaison program predominantly works with staff and academic development in that regard. The halls of residence librarian program is a little bit different now. They work predominantly with students, not necessarily because you're living on hall, but also for persons who commute. So it's not just Taylor Hall, to be fair. All halls on campus are assigned a librarian for the duration of that academic year. He or she is tasked to assist students with the procuring of material for courses, past papers. So basically, the liaison slash halls of residence librarian is bridging the gap between the department and the halls, and by extension, the students. So a liaison like myself now, how we would get contact with students is through presentations like these, and or through referral from the department, if it is that what we are referring matches what it is that we're supposed to be doing. But to be fair, I don't think any librarian is going to turn you back if it is that you approach him or her with queries for assistance. All right, so that's just the general overview of what the liaison program is and what the Halls of Residence Librarian program
Can I ask a question?
is about. Of course, most definitely.
Ask question?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. So let me just be clear. Are you saying then that if the students need help to find materials for an assignment, they can go to whatever hall they're assigned to and have a liaison librarian help them with that? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the President's Librarian is assigned to a hall, but I wouldn't say I'm saying automatically go to your halls of residence. There are librarians in the main library, there are librarians at the science library, there are librarians at the engineering and the law branch library. The reference unit, if it is that students would need assistance with procuring articles, then I would refer them to the reference unit, that's a public services unit in the main library. If it is that he or she cannot get into contact with their or a halls of residence librarian, like I gave the caveat earlier, I don't think a librarian generally will turn back a student if it is that a student asks for assistance. So myself, let's use myself as an example. If a student from this class decides that they need assistance, then even though it is not of the liaison program, I would still try to render the assistance that I can for that student. Better?
Yes, okay, yes.
Wonderful. And I think for the other librarians, they would be, so willing just the same.
All right, thanks.
Wonderful. So let us, take a little time to move into meat of the matter. And let us talk about academic writing. And we are going to make specific mention of predatory journals. This is a grad program, so I'm sure persons did a program before and they understand and appreciate citation as well as to avoid certain journals that are, let's just call them right only or deceptive journals. So these journals are not peer-reviewed journals. They are basically journals that are saying to you, hey, come, just put your article here and we will ensure that the process is easier than the conventional academic journal. Let us be clear. One would understand that publishing in an academic journal takes a longer period of time and you are awarded the opportunity for the editor to check your content for quality, check on the legitimacy of your paper, to check on the accuracy of what it is that you're postulating or basically the phenomenon that you're writing on. These predatory journals do not give that aspect of it. So you will, to be fair, you will write your good article. You have a wonderful paper, a new idea that you're pushing forward. But the moment you put it inside one of these journals or even send it to one of these journals, your article now becomes null and void. So you would have wasted a host of time collecting your research, writing your paper, and then can go nowhere. Because once you put it here, you cannot send it back to an academic journal afterwards. So you would have wasted your entire time. That's one. Two, because one cannot attest to the legitimacy of the articles that are published in these journals, you are asked to avoid them holistically. So it's basically somebody sitting somewhere writing something and it's not 100% accurate, but there's no one to a peer review aspect of it. So there's not a committee of your peers or persons within the same field who would take your paper and deliberate over it. And may not these accurate, but tear it down, so to speak, to look at facets of the paper, your research implications, your limitations, your objectives, and assess it to say, yes, this person did a wonderful paper, I like these points, and then they would make respective jottings on it. Ask you to do your review of whatever jotting they would do. You would send it back, they review it again, and then in an abstract version, they put it in the journal, the academic journal, and then it will be published in an academic journal like one that we have at the university, the Academic Search Premier, an EBSCO, an Emerald, an Electronic Library Journal, etc., etc. So, please, I will provide you with a listing of predatory journals that I am humbly asking that you avoid. I'm going to be putting the link in the chat and it will take you to, there we go. So that's the first, oh, sorry. There we go. There we go. So that's a link. Now, if it is that you need to check, and I'm humbly asking again, for you to double check anywhere that you're getting your information, please check the authenticity of the information. Please check the reputation of the source that you're getting the information from. One way of doing that is a listing. A librarian years ago procured or created a listing, of predatory journals that they would have found over time. I know it could not be an exhaustive listing because these persons are so creative. The moment you put them on a list to blacklist them, they find another way of getting whatever of getting themselves out there in other mediums. Fair enough? But please, we're asking if it is that's one link that you could. Let me see if I could share my screen for a minute, and I will show you a little bit. I'm sorry, Mr. Wans, can I be able to share?
Yes, you should be. You should be.
Wonderful. Here we go. So I hope everybody's seeing my screen. Please let me know.
Yes.
All right. So this is the list that I just put, the link, sorry, that I just put in the chat. Now, please, you can double check here by checking the name of whatever article, sorry, of whatever journal that you would have found. Double check it here, or you can scroll through the listing and they're all hyperlinked. It's actually an alphabetized listing and you can double check. Two, if it is that you want to double check again, you can double check the university's holdings of journals. The university has an exhaustive listing of e-journals that they subscribe to. These are reputable journals. One, I'd also recommend as grad students, and because we went ahead and we paid so much money for all of these journals, then I'd recommend that you exhaust these options. There are a lot of them. So for 2 seconds, I will share another screen, and this is your UWILink screen, and I will show you how to get to electronic databases from the UWILink page / the UWIL libraries page. Please. All right. Please let me know if this is the first time you're hearing of UWILink. I am cognizant that there are persons who did not do their first degree at the university and they are doing their grad program here now. So please let me know. With that being said, let me start from the onset. The UWILink is actually an acronym for the UWI Library Information Connection. This is a portal that gives you access to the holdings of the university, albeit you need information from Kville, from Mona, the Open Campus, and St. Augustine. This here is a one-stop shop, like your, let's say your local Google, your local UWI Google, or any information that you need. On this page, I will highlight a few stuff. The Ask a Librarian service, this is an online chat that the university library offers. They are online, to my knowledge, the best of my knowledge, they are supposed to be online 24 hours. Due to COVID, the latter part of the nights, I think at 10 is when the last person leaves live. But you can still go ahead and you can send an email and there's somebody that checks offline and they will respond to you. So you can ask whatever query you need. If you need somebody to assist with researching articles, if you need somebody to assist with borrowing materials from the library, if you need somebody just for a directional query, that is where you would go. Now, further on, towards the bottom of the screen, on the course reserve and find, you have the search and access the course reserve material. Now, this is your online public access catalog, your OPAC, where you would conventionally go inside the library and fill out that slip of paper and stand at the computer and you would find the book. This is where you would do that in the online realm. So you can use that, or you can use this search window here and look for any publication that you need that the university, let's say a book. Mr. Thomas, if you would be so kind to volunteer a text or a book from the subject area, please.
NOE, human
Sorry.
resource management, gaining advantage or something like that. Human resource NOE et al.
That's the Noe et al. Is the author, right?
Yeah, yeah. Raymond Noe.
Gaining competitive edge.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with no, and it's a Mona book, correct?
No. All right. There's one by Clement Branch and Noel Cowell. That's a human resource management book. Clement Branch and Noel Cowell are two UWI people.
Clement Branch.
Yes, they are ANCHE and Noel Cowell, COWELL. Two UWI people.
Can you spell the first name for me, please?
Noel, NOEL.
Oh, Noel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
COWELL.
Oh, well, okay.
Yes.
So there we go. with just the author's name, we can find information. First response that we get is this the book that we're looking for, Human Resource
Yes, it
Development
is.
and
Yes, that is
Workplace.
the cover. So I'm surprised because you're saying that you have, so you scanned the book. Is that what you did? How is it that you have online access?
Well, the university purchases ebooks, so coupled with the conventional physical book, they also buy rights to the e-version of it. However, the disadvantages is that sometimes we only buy 6 access keys. So
Yes.
6 access keys, only 6 persons could be online at that respective time using this book. But yes, it is online. So this is one way. As we just saw a while ago, we can tell where the location of the book is. We can view it online, and this viewing online pops up in another window, and we should have access to this book e-version. All right. So one other thing I must say to you guys: persons are. I'm expecting that there are adults here, so no one lives on campus. You will be required to sign in to ULink, and that signing in with your student ID, your password. If you have not changed it, by default, your year, month, day. And then when you log into ULink, you authenticate yourself as a legitimate UWI student, and more of the holdings will be released to you. Sometimes the university gives access to researchers, which is a little bit limited. So they do not have the access that you, a full-fledged UWI student, have. So once you do that, you will have access to the entire holdings. Let me know if you're on the same screen that I am on. I am on the EBSCO host screen. And I'm seeing your book now. Are you seeing it?
Yes.
Wonderful. So students, this is one way of getting information. One way. Let us get back to the ULink page, and then I'll show you now how to use the electronic journals. And I'll show you how to use the electronic journals now to get back to where you, where's my ULink page? All right. So the journals aspect of the data of the e-databases and the journal aspects are here, just like they're down here, just the same. It's a quick find option for you. So you can search through your e-journals here, or you can search through your electronic databases. Now, your electronic databases are your EBSCO host, your Academic Search Premier, your ProQuest. These hold academic articles. So you can search those, and it will be a one-stop shop. These are multidisciplinary databases. So when you're searching a database with an exhaustive source listing. So it wouldn't be, let's say you're going inside of a journal. I'm just randomly selecting one here, Caribbean Law Review, and you're searching for information and you're not getting it. With the difference with searching a journal on its own basis compared to searching a database with a host of journals, it's a one-stop shop. It's an amalgamated search. So it reduces the time of you spending going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 databases, and 5 journals, and then in one database you can do one search and search all at the same time. Fair enough? So let us
in fact, I just wanted the students to know also that a lot of the things that are in their class libraries come from ProQuest and EBSCO host.
Wonderful. So in there, students, you can search EBSCO host and ProQuest on your own. I'll show you what they look like. Now, when I clicked find databases a while ago, this alphabetized listing of databases came up. Let me click Pro. You can choose to type in a name, or you can have a keyword or a subject term that the database would have information on. However, for a more direct way of getting to the database, select the word P, said ProQuest a while ago. Sorry, let me go back. Remember I said you need to sign in a while ago. Let me show it to you for you to see in real time what it looks like. This is what you would get as a normal researcher. If you're seeing my screen, you'd see some of the databases and it says no access on it. So this is what a researcher would get, the skeleton aspect of just a few databases they have access to. So let me sign in, and all the databases will be open to me afterwards. There's a caveat. I know a lot of you might not have seen when I got the security prompt earlier. When you get that security prompt or that certificate, that error certificate that says error disruption, select or click the link that says advance, and you can button in the corner towards your left, click advance, and then when you click advance, a link will come up and it will say proceed anyways with unsafe in the corner. That is just a security feature the library has for persons who are not so authorized. If you click it, I promise you, it will not damage your computer. It is just a little dummy kind of trick thing for persons who are not authorized to use the site, so they will be deterred from continuing beyond that moment or beyond that prompt. Sorry. All right. So I signed in a while ago. Go ahead.
Okay, I had a question. Just yesterday, when I was navigating, I had an experience where I got a 404 page not found message when I tried to access ProQuest, and it indicated that I needed to reach out to the library. Um, Mind you, I just moved on to another database to do my search, but I wanted to know if you could probably give me some insights as to whether or not I did something wrong.
Well, no, you didn't. To be fair, we have some problems with ULink, and by extension, the databases are attached to ULink. So it's nothing, it's no fault of yours. Um, for the past week, ULink, and by extension, everything that is connected to it has been giving problems. I will use ProQuest as my example here for you to see if um, that's the way you accessed it, and if it is that we might experience the same problem and how we rectify it. Because I would need to know the message that you got from that 404 error.
Understood,
And,
understood.
all right, so
Rail had a question as well.
go ahead, go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
All right. Are we allowed to download these ebooks, or we have to read them on the page?
Some are allowed to, some allow downloading, some don't. It's based on the permission of the one a while ago that we saw. You could download it. I think 75% to 80 of them you're allowed to download. Some you might not be able to download in its entirety, but yes, you are allowed to download most of the books.
Oh, okay, sir.
Caveat: if it is that you're not able to download a book, please shoot me an email. I will go ahead and I will put my email in the chat. Please shoot me an email and I will ask for persons to assist with.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. There we go. All right, so back to the databases. So we click find databases like we were doing before, and we will use ProQuest as our example. So you notice the difference now. Once I sign in, I'm now seeing all the databases. So I will select ProQuest, and all the databases on campus. All right, this is the security that I hope you're seeing my screen. Can you confirm that, Ms. Thomas? Can you confirm?
Yes, yes, I'm seeing.
So
Yes,
this is
sir.
there we go. This is the error message that I was telling you that you are supposed to get. So once you click advance here, then this link comes up. Proceed to search ProQuest unsafe, and we click it, and it automatically gives us access. We do not need to sign into any electronic database unless you're a law student as well. You'd only need to sign into Westlaw. But there's no other database on campus that you would need to sign in. They're all IP driven. So once you have authenticated yourself as a legitimate UA student, you automatically have access. And this is ProQuest. Now, for the person that was searching before, can I ask what were you searching along the lines of? What were you looking for?
Hello? I
Yes.
was searching for articles related to productivity and training. So my search phrase would have included terms such as organizational culture, productivity, and training. In I tend to shuffle the order.
So organizational culture and productivity.
Yeah,
Sector that we're limiting this to, or it's general?
I did a general search. I didn't limit it. I didn't start limiting as yet. I
All right.
normally do a general, and then given what I see, I start limiting it.
Kind of feeling around to see if information is there for you.
Right.
All right. Now, one of two things. I hope you guys realize that the journal is predictive texting. So we placed organizational culture and the Boolean operator AND. The Boolean operator here acts as an amalgamative search. So it is
We're not
basically
seeing
saying,
that. We're not seeing that.
oh, you're not seeing the
It seems
screen?
to be frozen.
Sorry. Let me. Fine, you're seeing it now?
Not quite yet. Okay, yes, all right, yes.
All right. Organizational culture and productivity. And if you realize that it basically gave us a list of options, it's basically saying, hey, I can help you to refine it. Basically, this is what it's saying to you. I can help you to refine it for you. However, what I was saying before, the A and B acts as an amalgamation. So it is joining two phenomenons and giving you them in one search. Now, without taking anything else, let's use the search terms that were used before. Let's see the nature of the hits that we would get back. And I hope you're observant and notice the line there that says you are searching for online databases. So it is basically doing one search for numerous platforms and giving you all the hits from. Sometimes, as we librarians call it, you get a lot of recall. This is when you see 1 to 40 of 3,500 results listed, etc. Or in the case that we're seeing here, 35,000. 357,000, sorry, 357,397 results. Now, for the person that we're searching, one of two things. You can choose to limit what is on your left, limit what is on your right. Let's say that again. So you can narrow here, what is here, you can use it as a narrowing feature for here. So you got 20 results. Not really a lot, to be fair. You could actually go to 20. However, you can still narrow it down for the peer-reviewed articles that you want. And we know those are reputable. So if you select peer review here, it now limits what you have on this side. Fair enough?
Understood, yes. I thought it was automatic that all the findings would be peer-reviewed articles. Oh my
And
God,
No.
and
okay.
I limit to full text as well because it's
Yes,
frustrating. It's
yes,
frustrating.
yes.
Somebody else is speaking. I'm not. Please, again. One at a time this time.
No, I was just saying that I limit to full text also because it's frustrating to find an article and you get only the abstract or something like that.
All right, fair enough. But if you limit this that we have here, we only have two options to be fair. So if you are going to limit for peer review and full text, you just need to just go through this 20 because this is the holdings of this entire 20. So these two make up this 20. Fair enough?
I'm not understanding that.
All right. So what is on the here? Here narrows what is here. So this is
Okay.
the entirety. This is the entirety of our search results.
Okay,
Whatever we click on this side limits what is presented to us on this side.
I see. Okay.
So these, what we got back from our search results are both full text and peer reviewed.
Okay.
So if we are going to look at both, then we would not need to narrow it by these two here. We could just work with the results hits that we got if those are the type of material that we would need. Fair enough?
Okay, yes.
Right. So we won't be limiting it by this. Now we can say, okay, I was only looking for scholarly journals. And I can go ahead and I can select scholarly journals, and it will give me the results that are only from scholarly journals. Similarly, I can choose a publication date or a publication period that I'd want to give you to give me back. Let's be fair. Most researchers, the lecturer can confirm, would prefer if it is that you have articles within a 10-year, 8-year, or even a 5-year period. And that shows the currency of the information that you are presenting to us. That shows up to date. That shows that this era is heavily researched. Fair enough? Or you can even go further and filter by the subject, the document type, and the language. So that's basically what we're saying here is what is on the left filters what is on the right. Let's just, for the purposes of display, select this article here for you to see. For the friend that was doing this type of search. Fair enough? And you have the highlighting aspect of it. So what these databases do is they highlight to you to say, hey, this is what you asked me for, and I searched, and this is what I got back from it. Is it basically what you're asking, what you wanted? And this is your article. So you notice that this is the full text of your article, the entire article, and we can stop highlighting for you to have better eyes. All right, so this is an article. The next thing I must point out with this database and a lot of the, well, all the databases that we have to be fair, they suggest on the far right documents that you might have not been considering, documents that possibly would have cited the article that you looked for on presently on our left. So this article, these are related to this article. So it might be you're searching for something and you weren't considering this particular area. The request is saying to you, hey, Mr. Thomas, I know you are not considering this, but I have this information and it might be relevant to you. Please go ahead and take a look at it. Fair enough?
Yes. Good feature.
Wonderful. And as we said before, that person asks, as for different, you can download this article. You can click here and it tells you about citing the article. Now, let us make a pause right there. Please, I am begging you. I'm not even humbly asking. I am begging you. If you are reading an article and you find something interesting in it that you think you're going to be putting in your paper, or you even put in your paper, just jot down the title, the author's name, and possibly the year if you might remember. But the title and the author's name could get you back to the article. Sometimes we don't. And this poses problems when you're supposed to get back now to put it in our source, in meaning our reference list. So we can't get it. Sometimes persons embellish. So they decide to, hey, let me just do a little thing. Let me just make up a little part of it and give. Now, for a librarian like myself who get theses afterwards to scrutinize, I will find out because I go through your reference list meticulously. I literally take every single source and check the veracity of it based on where you sent. There's a DOI, that's a digital object identifier link that you're supposed to put in your reference list. We'll get there when we reach over to APA. You put it in your reference list. When you put it there, I just need to copy that link and follow that link, and it should, if it is that's a legitimate article, it takes me directly to where you got it from. This now in the back end is what some of them, like a Turnitin, would use to check the veracity. So that's how Turnitin would know the level of plagiarism that one would do from a respective source. Fair enough?
Understood.
Saying that to say as well, I am asking persons to please give credit where credit is due. So if you got something from an article, please cite the person and cite them accordingly. You can, let me just pop in this one right here, even though it's not where we are directly. You can take something from Google. I'm not even going to say that it's not possible for you to, but I'd love for you to attest the authenticity of this information. Maybe if you see an article on Google and you like this article so much, you can double check on an academic journal if this article is something that you can use. Maybe if you check in the academic article, it's not there, you can use the alternative. But please, I am begging you, because it is hard for you to write a paper And then when you write a paper, you are marked down parts of plagiarism and some simple mistakes that you could avoid, like citing persons accurately or checking authoritative information, putting it forward. Sometimes we cosmetize it. There's something called cosmetic plagiarism, where we kind of try to make up over this side and let me paraphrase on this side and take out the word. Let me help you to understand that plagiarism does not stem only from writing the exact words. It stems from you stealing somebody else's thought processes, because I can write something along these lines and you get my understanding from it and you write based on your interpretation of what I said. But to be fair, you would have not gotten that knowledge if you did not read my article. So you need to give credit where the credit is due. There are respective ways of doing this, meaning your in-text citation or your reference list. We get there in a few minutes. Fair enough?
Yes. There's a feedback. I'm not sure what that is. I thought it was somebody reversing at one point.
Oh, there's some construction going on outside. Some NWA persons outside. So I think that might be chopped up in the whole
okay.
process. All right. I hope it's not disturbing.
You were competing. It was competing successfully with you a while ago.
Let me double check. Can you give me a minute? Let me double check how long these persons would be, and this, it will affect us. Momento.
Guys, is this helpful to you? I know that I have been looking for articles for a long time, and even I'm learning some new tricks here.
I am beyond elated. I was just too happy to see that it is this session was arranged. I really appreciate it, Olivier.
Okay.
Because it was just yesterday. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been out assisting for a while, and I called up a colleague and I'm like, listen, man, I'm serious about this semester. I need to understand how to navigate the library's resources effectively. And she's like, well, I just use Google Scholar. And I'm like, why? I want to know. I go to get it right this time. I want it from the horse's mouth. So I was just too happy when I saw this session. I was in the end note session yesterday. I didn't get everything, but I know that I got enough to get started. So thank you. Really appreciate the process. I did not even remember about, hey, there are blacklist sites or journals that we should steer clear from.
Yeah.
And so I will now need to go and check for those resources that I've already collected to go and compare. The work is a very long one, but
I have another list too, the ABDC list. I'll send that out to you guys as well, because
I would much appreciate.
The Beals list hasn't been updated recently because I think that one of these journals, or maybe a few of them, sued Beal. So you see, they're vicious because you're cutting into their revenue stream by telling people not to publish with them, because these journals ask you to pay money. You pay your money and you see an article in print, but it doesn't help your career at all. But somebody sued Beal, yeah. Well, whatever. But I'll send you the other lists, and I'll send you a list also that tells you the standing of journals. So you know a journal is an A+ journal, a B journal, yes, a C journal.
I would much appreciate that, Olivia, and I'd really, really appreciate if you just compile them so I can definitely.
You should have that to the PhD OB program, because that has been disseminated to the PhD OB students. Okay. I'll send it again.
I would appreciate it. Remember, I am resurrecting from the ashes.
All right. I hope it's, yeah. Can you let me know if you're still hearing it? I asked them to see if they don't comment. They will be leaving in a few minutes, so it should be fine. But let me know if it is that you're hearing it again.
Thanks, you here. Thanks a lot, Mr. Duncan.
Much better, much better. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, Rosie. We were talking about this.
You were talking about cosmetic paraphrasing and that.
I think I saw, if you don't mind, can you read that statement or a question from the young man or the gentleman in the chat for me, please. I was asking something about
the citations on your reference page should not only be from those you cited in text, but just about all the literature you read in preparation for the paper, as long as you're sure it has influenced the general idea or understanding you formed.
in response to
that is a question that this young lady is asking.
Oh, so I'm sorry. My humblest apologies. I didn't look at the name. To be fair, let me answer that question direct. If it is that you do not cite or did not write anything from an article, I would not expect that you would cite it. Works cited, bibliography, references, they are categorizations of what you use. I think AP requires a few references list. These are the references that you actually used. So if you're going to have a thought process from something, I'm expecting that this thought is going to transcend into you writing it in your paper. There is where you give the credit once you write it in your paper. Did I answer that question? Did I?
Nicola, are you satisfied?
Thank you, sir. The question, I was one that asked the question, but I just in reference to, I was reflecting on what you were saying earlier before you left us. I just wanted to know, how are you absolutely sure that, because, okay, for me, when I am going to write a paper, I try to read widely and then I write my ideas down before I actually start to structure everything. So I don't know. I'm just wondering if, just to be on the safe side, I should, because when I check every site, I try to form the citation on the reference page, for the reference page, just so in preparation, maybe for if I should forget to go back to that particular source. So I'm saying I don't want to be the victim of paraphrasing and don't realize that that's what I'm doing. So that's why I'm just wondering, do you put all those sites that you visit, do you cite all of them on the reference page just to be safe? Or you only cite the ones that you directly have an in-text citation for?
The latter. You only cite what it is that you wrote in your paper. So if it is that you write something from one of these and you have your in-text citation, yes, you would put in-text citation and then the references list. If you did not, let's be clear, if you did not put any information from any of these articles, then I don't expect that you're going to put it in your paper. Fair enough?
All right, sir, fair enough.
So saying that another way then, if you only got the idea, but that idea did not transcend the text, then that idea did not benefit your paper, to be fair. Correct? Because it would not be something that you add to your paper. Like you said, you read generally just to give you an idea of what it is that you're looking for.
I think I'm directly responding to where the point you made, where you said you do not only plagiarize if you don't if you don't use the person's word for word expression.
Sorry, let me be clear in that cosmetizing. So when you cosmetize, then it will transfer to text. So you put on the makeup and then you put it in your work. Sometimes, let's be clear, there's a sentence that you see that fits exactly where you want it to go. The cow jump over the moon. But you know that's a normal phrase that somebody would do. And then you would say, oh, the cow went and made a huge leap in a circular motion over the moon. So you basically are saying the same thing, but just using different words. So you're paraphrasing what the person said. You're not able to say, oh, but I did not use the exact wording that they did. But basically, the idea from it is the same. Those actually transcend the text, not just the idea formulating it. It transcends the text in your paper.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so
if I find an article and the author, somebody else, Errol Chavans is asking, if I find an article and the author cites someone in that article and I want to use that section in my paper, who should I cite?
You should cite both. So you will cite the person that you got the article from, and then you do in XYZ article. So there's a specific format for that. So since we are on the citation so far, let us just.
And Nicola is asking as well, if you didn't cite, you didn't use an in-text citation, what if somebody who you didn't actually use supports your point of view? So I use Horrell's work, but Sinani has a similar thing that I read, but I really use Horrell's. But do I include Sinani as well because her work is closely linked to his?
Where did you get it from? That's a question I will ask you. Did you get it from Sinani or did you get it from O'Reilly?
Okay.
So if you got it from Sinani and they made mention of O'Reilly, then you have to cite Sinani in O'Reilly.
Okay. All
Fair
right.
enough?
Yes.
A follow up to that. A follow up to that could be there are two existing articles. So Sinani was not referenced in O'Reilly, but Sinani as an independent author and O'Reilly as another share similar conceptualizations about organizational change. I'm aware of it, but I read O'Reilly's paper. Do I only reference O'Reilly, or should I make an effort to include Sinani's reference as well, given that they both share the similar concept surrounding the similar thoughts surrounding the concept?
Let me answer it this way by giving you a scenario. So Caroline Cooper wrote on In the Dancehall, and Stanley Nair also wrote her version of In the Dancehall, but you know of Stanley Nair's version, you only read Caroline Cooper. You would only cite Caroline Cooper because you only got the information from Caroline Cooper. You did not take anything from Stanley Nair to put in your paper, though you know of the existence of her paper.
Understood.
The paper, that paper, the standard paper, influence your paper in any regard, meaning, did you get any excerpt from it? Did you get a line from it? Did you cite anything from it? Did it transcend to your paper itself? Not just the existence of the knowledge that you know that it exists, but did you apply the knowledge in your paper?
Okay. Just this last point, I have often observed in the articles that I read, they make one statement, and you see 3, 4, 5, 7 authors being referenced to say, hey, they have shared this point of view, or we over the past decade, XYZ has happened in organizational change. And from a doctoral thesis writing perspective, are we expected to make it our business to know who these authors are and to follow that similar writing pattern in the name of exhausting the literature?
I would not say from that writing pattern in the name of exhausting literature. I recently did that in a paper. That's why I'm smiling while you said that. I recently did that in a paper. But I read 7 articles and they are essentially surrounding the same topic, basically drawing the same conclusion. But when I was writing mine, I would have written to say, hey, my point is X, Y, Z, and this was supported by Duncan, Thompson, Howell, Jackson in their writings. And in my reference list now, you will see the listings of these articles. Now you can go back now and read, meaning the reviewer will go back now and read to see
to verify if
there
they
we go.
really share
Thank
those
you.
points. Understood. Thank you very much.
I think I saw something else before I move on. I think I saw something else in the chat.
Shara is saying, personally, if I'm writing something and need to make a strong justification for a point, I would go for citing more than one author who has the same point on that view. Yes.
Well, if you use the all authors and if you read all authors, to be fair, I would say yes, go ahead. If, that's a big if, you had read all.
That is true.
As a researcher myself, I remember a long time ago I used to embellish. That's why I can tell you that. I, as a first year student, a long time ago, wrote an article, wrote a paper, to be fair, and stick out me thinking I'm, more. I think, let me just say it this way: I'm more educated than my lecturer because I would think she would not be able to check every source that you put inside of it, and I embellished, and a few just to fatten up my paper to make it seem as if I would have more inside of it. And she pulled me, she called me and she said, you had potential, but I didn't expect for you to go down this line. She kind of, roped me into that. Was my first and only stint with embellishing, I never used it again. In that regard, I made sure I did my proper research. I made sure I cite. I made sure I give credit where credit is due. If it is that I use only 6 articles, then I only use 6 articles. That's all I did. Sometimes it's not about the quantity, but the quality of the work that you got from. One person can have 25 and one have 6, and the one with 6 is a better paper than the one with 25.
Nicola has, so do I now say OT 2019 and DB 2020 supports the view that, but that is if you've read OT 2019 and DB 2020.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, Nicola? You'd have to have read both to include both in your paper, in your reference list.
Yes, because all right, what was giving me a little confusion was that because they're saying that we need to cite more, that like for certain papers you need to cite at least 10 references. So when I do reading on more than on say 10 documents, but then I only cite from maybe 5. So I'm just trying to clarify if what I must do now is say that reading journal 1, 2, 3, they support this point of view. Is that the way forward?
But if your lecturer says that they want 10 citations, they expect you to have read at least 10
references
that they use in the paper. They want to see that you've used at least 10 in the paper, if that is what they're telling you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks much.
Yes, supporting what was said by Mr. Thomas earlier, yes. If it is that you're required to put at least 10, then I'm expecting that you're going to read more than 10 so that you can condense it to what you're actually putting inside of it that you got information from. This is a crafty way. Let me just say that out loud. This sometimes can be a cunning way for persons to put literature inside of their paper that they don't necessarily have information from. Let's be clear. So in this way that you wrote it, I could say, oh, the Library at the University of the West Indies has been supporting online teaching and learning since its inception. Duncan, Jordan, Thomas, Fuller supports this point, yada, yada, yada. These 3 names that I would have called would have been some articles that I read, I got the idea from, and I can say yes for a fact that they support that point. Not because you're asked for a quota, that means you're just going to fill the quota with any random source. The source must be impactful and contribute. Well, let me not say impactful, but it should contribute towards the completion of your paper. Fair enough?
Yes, for me. No, not at all. It's not clear.
Nicola, what do you mean, no, not at all? Or are you responding to the query above? The one that says, do you encourage using?
No. I was because you just said a while ago. Sorry, because you just said a while ago that because you have a quota, you try to cram a lot of stuff inside. No, but you read all this stuff. You read them, and they're supporting the point of view that you're making. So
then go ahead and include them. So once they are supporting the point and you actually read them, you go ahead and include them. There's no hindrance including them in that regard.
All right. I totally understand now. Thanks.
Wonderful. So, Bromfield, let me answer that question. This is a personal answer. I do not support the use of online citation machines because they are sometimes not up to date. Let's use the case of the APA citation. A lot of them do not have APA 7th edition, and you will not get the full bibliographic information inside. So I recommend that you, 1, understand the process, meaning how to write it up, extrapolate the elements. Off the top of my head, I can just tell you right now that for any article that you're using, you would need the author's name, you would need the article title, you need the year, you need the volume, and you need the journal that it came in, and then you would need page number. APA just requires of you to put it in a respective format. You can master that format. Let me even say this. Using this site that you're seeing me on now, All Purdue as well as your UE thesis guide. The UE thesis guide trumps APA citation on aspects of stuff, meaning, let's say you're listing figures inside. This all produces put the figure, the word fig 1 and the labeling underneath in italics. The UE thesis guide says to you, put it underneath the bottom of the figure. Now the UE thesis guide trumps all Purdue, always. With any citation, your institution trumps aspects of it. So though you're being asked to use APA citation, you're still being asked to conform to the institutional requirements of using APA. Fair enough?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Wonderful. So for the person that was asking before, there's one here. Cite your sources automatically in APA. There's one right here actually. But since you're already on the page, why be lazy? Why not just, get a little learning to fish as opposed to somebody throwing you a basket of fish, correct? So this page here explains it thoroughly. It starts off with the general format of your APA and then it goes specific. Please let me know if there's any 100% novice on APA inside this group. And please don't say you're a novice when you're doing. Thank you. So I know where to start from.
UE thesis guide. Kerry K.
Kerry K. All right, let me put the UE thesis guide in the chat. I'll send a link. I will send a link. I'll send a revised version of it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There you go. So I'll also do another one. And let me just go ahead since I'm on this page and send you this link here for all Purdue. Right? Let me even do another solid. There are a lot of persons who are able to watch a video while they're doing something else and still get the knowledge. So we at the library have started a series. It's called the HRL Citation Series. What we do is we make small videos on respective citations. Fortunately for you, your video is already made and on our YouTube channel. So all you need to do is type in Mona Library, APA citation, and you'll have a small video whetting your appetite of how to cite a journal article and how to cite a book. Fair enough? Those are predominantly what you would cite in. There are other materials that you would cite, meaning your websites, meaning your web pages, meaning your Facebook posts, etc. But these are predominantly what you would cite. You would cite a book and you would cite a journal article, as those are where you get the bulk of your information from. Fair enough? And fortunately for you, I'm the one making that presentation. So I'm the host and the conceptualizer of that series, and I'm the one making the APA presentation. So you get a familiar voice, you know. All right, so the basics of APA. Like I said to you guys before, when you are citing your articles, when you are writing anything from your articles, there's one of two ways that you got information from it. You got a direct quote or you didn't. The direct quote is written in a particular way, and the indirect quote, as they call it, is written different. However, all right, so follow with me now. What APA is saying to you is, if it is that you have a direct quote, meaning you have quotations for it, they're requiring of you for your in-text citation, is what we're on specifically, not your reference list, in-text citation. Fair enough? They want you to have the author's name followed by a comma, the year, and the page number. So let us be clear. APA is saying to you, if you use a direct quote from a publication, the last name followed by a comma, space, the year, followed by page number. The difference with what you put for the page number, meaning P or double P, is based on the amount of pages that you are citing. Fair enough? If you use one page, then you would have Thomas, comma, 2020, comma, P, full stop, and page 1, you close the bracket. So that's how you cite it there for just one page. But let's say you did more than one, then you would have PP 558 to 62. Fair enough? Basics. Basics. This link here I put in the chat. So after this, we can go ahead and you can view it. So if it is that you guys, yes, I'll go ahead and say this. If it is that you guys would need a little brushing up, I would be able to facilitate at another time. Fair enough? Specifically for the citation aspect, because I know it gives problems for persons at times. Also, for your in-text citation, AP is saying to you, only capitalize proper nouns. I know, it's Jamaican nouns too. Most words that we want to capitalize are not supposed to be capitalized. Only capitalize proper nouns. These include persons' names and their initials. Okay? Is everybody hearing me?
Yes, sir. We're hearing you.
Oh, sorry, I totally went, you guys went ghost on me. All right, so short codes. Let us go to our short codes. So let's say you're quoting a little bit different, according to our example here. According to Jones, 1998, sorry, and you see the quote different. So they started with, according to Jones, 1998. So they already told you who they're asking, who they got the information from. At the end, all you're required to do is this. Because you already indicated the author's name and the year, at the end of that, all you're required to do is put the what? Page number. And remember, this is a direct quote. Sometimes our writing style, is a little bit different. So you can choose to write a little bit different. However, once you mention from the onset the author's name and the date, you don't need to put it at the end of the sentence again. You will only need to put the page number. If you are not doing a direct quote, let's be clear, if you are not doing a direct quote and you're making mention of anything that the person would have said, then you put Jones 1998 and the page, Jones 1998 at the end, and that's it. All right. Now let me just run through the respective sources that you would need. So articles, periodical is an article in periodicals. However, there are two formats for it. There's citing an article in a physical form that you got from a regular old jolly journal that you picked up, or a journal that is online. There's also citing a book, but before we go to that, there's citing articles with numerous authors, with one author, with two authors, and how you put the information in. For your in-text citation, if you are citing one author, then you would, if you're citing more than one author, then you would, so that would be 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5 and above, then you would go ahead and put the person's name and et al. Even in the first instance. Fair enough? So let's be clear. So let's say 6 of us in this class wrote an article. Unfortunately for the rest of the 5 of us, the person who is the lead author, their name will be mentioned most. So right here under highlighting, a work by 3 or more authors. Initially, when you're making mention of it, you would have Thomas, Duncan, Bloomfield, and Cheshire wrote an article. In citation, in-text citation, let's be specific because your name will be mentioned in the reference list. But in the in-text citation, you will only have the first author, and then this will be followed by a et al. And the year. Even in the first instance, even when you are mentioning it the first time, you will not list out everybody. You will only indicate the first author, et al. And the year, as is exampled here. Everybody seeing?
Yes.
Right, let's backtrack. Work by 2 authors. We already know about the work by 1 author. A work by 2 authors. You would put the and. Now, the difference with the and the ampersand is if it is that you're putting at the end of the citation what you the names, sorry, at the end of the sentence, the end of the whatever you cited, the information that you got from, sorry, tongue twisting there, then you would use the first author and an ampersand, the second author, and separate it with a comma and then the year. Now, if you're writing a little bit different by saying according to Wengner and Petty, then you would have to write the word A and D. Fair enough? So if you are citing or referencing an article, if you are in texting an article, let me don't use that word reference loosely. If you are citing an article in the in-text citation and you have two authors and you are writing along the lines of according to Duncan and Thomas, then you would use the word A and D. If you're writing and you wrote out what you're writing first and then you're listing the source information afterwards, then you would use the ampersand. Please, I am begging you to double check this site when you are, as a matter of fact, bookmark it on your computer and bookmark the thesis guide. So you'll use them simultaneously, because when your thesis goes to your respective librarian, this is what they would use to meticulously scrutinize your paper. Fair enough? So let's recap those two. One, you already know about citing with one, but for two authors, you would indicate at the end of the sentence that you would have included the quotation or the phrase from. If it was not a direct, then you go ahead and you put it at the end of the sentence and you separate both names with the ampersand. If you are writing the name before you cite what it is that the person said, according to research by Duncan and yada yada stipulates, then you would use the actual word A and D. If you are citing a work in text citation, if you are citing a work that has 3 or more authors, you are only required to put the first author's last name and et al., followed by a full stop, then a comma and the year, even in the first instance. Even if it is that you're writing to say another format like according to Kenil, you still write it according to Kenil et al. And then put the year in the bracket. You guys following me so far?
So far, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
just to clarify something, right?
Go ahead.
So when you're citing 2 or more authors, if you're going to put the authors before the information, you use the word A and D. You use and.
Only 2, not 2 or more. Only 2.
Only 2, yeah. Right. If it's at the end of the quotation, you use the ampersand.
Wonderful.
What message it is sending? Why you have to use the different and the ampersand?
That's just the rule of a citation, to be fair.
Just the rule.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I just want to understand, so resonate and stick with me more instead of just remembering. If it's before, use the word and if it's after, you use ampersand. But I guess
that's just a stipulation of this, because MLA does not require that, or a school or Chicago or Harvard. So that's just a stipulation. That's, I guess every citation style gives you a basic rule that they want you to follow without sometimes giving you justifications of following.
Okay, understood. Appreciate it.
Just a quick question.
Go ahead.
Is this APA 6th edition or 7th edition?
7th edition.
7th edition. Because I done some reading before and they said that when you have 3 or more authors, you say all 3 names in the first instance and then after you use et al. But this is saying you use
yes, that's 6. That's one of the modifications that happened after the 6th. So this is the 7th. So that was the 6th edition.
Okay. All right.
What I will also do, let me see if I can find it. It's a good thing you said that. I have, if I don't find it before we complete, I'll send it to Ms. Thomas and she'll send it to you. I have a listing of what the modifications, what the changes were from the 6th to the 7th, and you can see the material differences between both. All right?
Okay, sir. Thanks.
And you're welcome. Articles now. So that's the basic rule of in-text citation for 1, 2, 3, and more authors. All right? Now for your reference list, let us go to your reference list. Remember before I said to you, you need respective information for your reference list. You would need your author's name, the year the publication was published in, the journal title, the journal name, the volume, the issue, and the page number. To be fair, that's actually the order that you're supposed to have your citation listing in. The only thing missing is your DOI, that's your digital object identifier. That's a link that you put at the end of it for myself or anybody to find the article afterwards. So like I listed a while ago. So this is the format for your print journal, for your journal article that you would need. The author's name, and we have it last name first, first name last. This is followed by the year in bracket, which is followed by a full stop. The title of the article, which is followed by a full stop. The title of the periodical, this is the journal name, and it is italized, followed by a comma. The volume of the journal, and in the bracket is the issue. This is followed by a comma, and then the page range, so that would mean 351 to 24 or wherever it is, and then the last thing that you add to this is the DOI information, the digital object identifier information at the end here. Fair enough? So that's a basic things of what you need for your, so let's see it in actuality. And that's, the DOI is only attached, let's be clear, the DOI is only attached to articles in digital realm. If you have a print journal, I'm not expecting that you would have a DOI, since a print journal is a physical format. You can only cite it with everything else except DOI. As is my example here. My example here says Scruton, R, 1996, full stop. So Scruton is the author, the year 1996, the title of the journal, and if you see in italics here, that's the title of the journal title. This is the journal article's title, and this is the journal's name. It is followed by the volume right there, and in bracket we put the comma, we put the issue number followed by a comma, and the page range that I was making mention of. I don't think any article is going to be on one page, to be fair, since you have practical implications, research this, limitations, etc., your discussion. So you have a range that you have the article on, a page range, sorry. The material difference, let's say it this way, the material difference, because the information that you need for the print journal is the same information that you need for the digital journal, barring the DOI information. Let me say that another way. The same author's name, year of publication, title of journal, journal name, volume, issue, and page number. They are needed for both digital and the print journal. The only thing that separates both is the DOI information at the end. Let me even say it this way. Sometimes persons try, it's another crafty way, sometimes persons get an article online and they don't have the proper DOI information. And what they did is they just wrote it like it's an actual print journal. Because the only difference between the print journal and the physical journal is the DOI information. Please, when you find an article online, the same time you are thinking or writing or whatever you're doing from that article, just open a Microsoft document and cut and paste the URL, that's your DOI, and just put it down. So whenever you're ready for it, you can just go back and copy it and put it inside of your article. So you see how much good tips you're getting for jotting down stuff? Please, if you can't write it down, open a Word document. It's almost work better in the online world anyways. So just open a Word document and copy and paste. That's much easier. And then you can start to generate your reference list. But I as a person, let me give you a tip. I as a person, I start to generate my reference list the moment I start to get my articles. So if I write down something, I kid you not, if I'm writing my article and I put my in-text citation for Duncan 2020, I am going to put in my reference list the full bibliographic data of that Duncan 2020 article. That cuts out the opportunity for me to lose it. Then it also cuts out my wasting of time, so I don't have to go back again and look to fix my reference list or to try to procure all the information that I need to my reference list. Okay? I will not, let me be fair, I will not go through all of this in its entirety with you because I want you also to do your own instructional learning. Like I said before, I will be giving you the fish rod and the line, and you'll be throwing out there and you'll be learning to fish. It's a better approach for you. It develops you as a researcher, sharpening your skills. If you're having problems, then you can come back again and you can let me know. Like I said, you will have another session. Ms. Thomas will let me know of the availability and if it is that she can accommodate me again for another session. And if it is that you so desire, we can go through this with a fine-teeth code. But I would love if you do some reading and then we can have a huge, nice discussion on it. Fair enough? Fair enough?
Mr. Duncan?
Oh, okay.
Mr. Duncan?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I believe the site says that if no DOI is available, that the hyperlink can be used. Is that correct?
Yes, that's why I said they can just go ahead and copy the URL. The URL is your, sorry, I'm taking it for granted that, you know, the URL is your hyperlink at the top of your, on my screen here, this is your URL. So you would copy that there. But let's be fair, Ms. Thomas. If it is that an article was published in an electronic academic journal, you must have a DOI. That's a new requirement since about 4 or 5 years ago. So all articles would have a DOI. That's a permanent link. So even if it is that somebody else put up the article, it will still quote the original DOI. So it can never be lost or a link be broken to say, I can't get it. It's a permanent address for that article.
Even for very old articles, because you might use a very old article if it is some sort of standard, the person who invented the concept or something like that. You know some.
Let me even go a little bit further. You will use the old article, but the old article, like we saw, will lead you to new articles that cited the old article. So even though you're getting the information from the old article, you're still in the new age realm, so to speak. So let's use an example. I wrote on usability testing, and somebody else is using my logos classicus or my precedent, as you call it, and then take my precedent going forward to talk about what I wrote about and what is happening presently, the developments that would have happened after that moment. There's a school of thought that says no idea is new, it came from somewhere else. So naturally, I'm expecting that precedents that have already been set or standards would have already been set in certain areas, and you have to quote from that person with authority there on that area. But there are other persons who still would write on that area and would have cited that authority. Ms. Thomas wrote on social behavior, and she wrote in 1966. But the development in that area, there has been development in that area, so we would cite from her plus the persons who would be writing about the updated aspect of it. So we're not negating the fact that she's logos classicus or that she has set the precedent or standard in this regard. Fair enough?
Yeah. No, so the thing though is that even that 1966 article now has a DOI.
No, it has a it has a URL. Remember, it's mandatory. It only became mandatory a few years ago. Yeah. So the persons who would have been putting it up would have just been putting it up on a site or on the academic journal's website, that page, sorry, that it was in, and there's attached to a hyperlink. It only became mandatory a few years ago when they realized that, hey, we're losing some of this because of broken links or because somebody has shared the information and missed a comma or missed an asterisk or even a simple detail as that. And you know every element inside of a hyperlink or URL, sorry, even if you miss the U here, you will never get to where we are on now.
Yes.
So that was a problem. So that's why they came up with this concept of ensuring that there's a permanent link you'll always get.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Let me know if you want me to go further into this here.
Guys, this is for you, remember?
Or you want to, that's fine. If you want to take away and then we come back and we'll discuss what you don't understand, then that's fine also.
Mr. Duncan.
Yes, ma'am.
This doesn't have to do with the content, but I just wanted to know, do you as a researcher memorize all these specifications, or do researchers normally memorize them, or how is it? Because I don't do a lot of research, or I haven't been doing a lot of research so far.
To be fair, if it is that you're doing this continuously, your lecturer can attest, then yes, it becomes repetitive. Like a while ago, I could have just said the citation from my head. One of two things. I have to scrutinize thesis as a part of my job. So in the university here, I don't know how I became this, but I am authority on the library standpoint for MLA, APA, Oscola, Turabian, Chicago Author Date, and Chicago Notes Bib. So it's mandatory for me to be scrutinizing and consulting on theses. So over time, it becomes repetitive. So it sticks with you after a while. And then I'm a researcher on my own basis. Sometimes I'm writing for a particular journal, and they would say to me, "Hey, I want your article in Harvard style, so you have to write it in that style." So yeah, you are forced now to do this. And after doing it for a while, then it cements itself.
Okay, but they're constantly updating, right?
Yes, but in my case, it's mandatory for my job to keep
for your job.
As a researcher, now I could say to you, yes, if you are interested in research and you're interested in developments in these areas, then you can go ahead and you can track these and keep yourself abreast.
I just find it interesting. Okay, thank you.
But if you find it interesting, that's lovely. So you can now follow up on all of these, but they don't update that frequently, because the 7th edition, they've been talking about it for a while, and then it came out. So it's not like every other year or every year. It's based on, I couldn't even say based on what they did.
The 6th edition came out in 2007, and the 7th edition came out in 2019. It's not
every year, every other year, 5 years. It's based on a development that would happen and a change.
So there is some time to cement one format.
Most definitely.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, good evening again. I have another question, Mr. Duncan. I've noticed material presented by some lecturers or researchers where they actually get information from YouTube or other listening sites. Is a particular approach or format to citing information that you get from YouTube?
Yes. If you notice on my screen here, under electronic sources, it will tell you how to cite from YouTube, even Facebook. Some persons put content on, and it tells you how. So this is a web page. Let me find a YouTube one for you. Here we go. So YouTube or other streaming videos. It does not require much. Well, in my eyes, it doesn't require much. It wants you to have the person who is in the video, or the username of that person, and the time that you access it, meaning the year, the month, and the date that you access it, the title of the video, and the streaming service, as well as the URL. So you would have Duncan 2020, August 15th, and the title of my video would have been APA Citation HRL Library Series, and then the streaming service would have been YouTube, and the URL would have been, you just copy the URL for my respective video and paste it right there.
In the same document that I'm referring to, I often see listen to followed by a colon, and then is it important to put listen to or watched or put before you do that, or you just stick to this format? Because not often you get the name of the person who is presenting or speaking.
Even if you don't get the name of the person who is presenting or speaking, the respective page, the username or the respective page, it will have underneath it the title of the thing that you're presenting on. So you would use, in that regard, the title is uploaded on a particular page. So you will see the page name, meaning page that you subscribe to or didn't subscribe to. But you will see that information there.
Okay, awesome.
Mr. Duncan,
Yes.
I've actually never used YouTube or Facebook in any of my scholarly writings. And how do we assess these sources? Because I've really never considered using YouTube or Facebook as a resource.
Well, there is an acronym, I think it's called CRAP, that they use in the library. You look at the credibility, the relevance, the reliability, the credibility, the authoritative nature of it. So let's say you're looking at using the same YouTube video that I mentioned, the APA citation, you look at the credibility of the author, person in the video. Myself is in that video. So you check the credential of the person. Is a librarian or head finds that person should have some knowledge on citations, etc. So you're basically assessing the individual in the video. By extension, let's use it for even the digital articles. If you notice in an article, at the end of it, sometimes you'll see the bio of the person who wrote. Adrian Duncan is in Library University for 15 years, and he's been working in reference services and instructional learning for 12 years. So they give you a little authoritative information about the person to let you know that information that you're getting is authoritative. So for the same thing for the video, you check the veracity of the person. So let's say in this case here, you're watching my APA video, you just double check if I'm actually a librarian at the university and if I actually have knowledge on the area that I'm speaking to. So now it's now checking not just the source, but also the person that the information was
being delivered by.
Being delivered by. Sorry, Tom. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Mr. Duncan.
Hi, how are you?
Just one question here.
Okay.
Right. So I am new to UA and therefore new to the Turnitin platform. So I'm not sure if this is a good medium to ask the question, but maybe you could assist me. When you submit your assignment, what results are you looking for? What are some satisfactory or excellent results then that you should be looking for in terms of, so when I saw my percentage for the similarity percentage, I wasn't sure if it was good, if it was bad, if I needed to review and to resubmit. Could you just inform me or advise?
Well, to be fair, that's actually a stipulation based on your department. They will indicate what is accepted in terms of the percentage for similarity, not the library, to be fair. So I think Mr. Masumor can answer that question.
Did you say the department, sir?
The Turnitin
percentage. The platform is viewing, but the requirements in terms of the similarity that's stipulated not by the library.
All right, what I've seen on the Turnitin is that they use a sort of stoplight symbol. So they have green up to about 29%, and then they do amber, and then they do red. We've seen people with red, people who have 90% similarity and that sort of foolishness. So no, I think, I remember I wrote a paper and we went down to, it was 0. It was like 3 words recognized similar, but that took a lot of revision down. And I was actually working with a librarian from the library who kept sending it back and until we got it down to 3 words. It was like the very minimum amount of similarity.
Miss, is it similar to who? To your classmates?
No, similarity
to the references that you're citing.
So definitely nobody could accuse me of plagiarism on that paper.
That's one things that one would use Turnitin for. Let me even help you guys here. Sometimes persons don't know where their sources are, don't remember where their sources are from. When you turn it into Turnitin, it automatically tells you. So if you have a source that you did not remember where you got it from, and you put it in that Turnitin without properly citing it, Turnitin will say to you, hey, Adrian, you got this from the Electronic Library Journal, and this is the article that it is from. So that's one way. 2, it can also help you to say, like Mr. Mark said, guide you to say, hey, this is the green area, so you stay between 1 to 29% of similarity to any work that you're getting, and then you have to chop out or find other ways or ensure that you cite the work accordingly. Sometimes we get a bad report because we did not put the proper in-text citation. It's not like we didn't quote and we didn't put the quotation correctly, but sometimes because we did not cite it properly, that is why we're getting a similarity percentage. Sometimes you're writing from articles and it's not possible for you to even change how or even paraphrase what it is said, because what they are saying slavishly matches what you're saying, and if you change essentially the thought processes, so you have to put it there. Also, sometimes Turnitin picks up catchphrases that are not necessarily unique to a particular article. It's generally sometimes how one speaks, and then
jargon.
Yes, specific jargon, specific words, and it will capture it and assume that you have major editing. Hence, I'm saying you get a leeway between, I think, one and don't quote me slavishly on this, but one, I think 23 to 29% when you have just the green. Anything that changes that color, then you're automatically in a little bit trouble.
Yes, if you look at the Turnitin reports, you see these things, and we've been.
This is what we're talking. Sorry, the report. Sorry. So after you submit your article, then you get a report afterwards in a color-coded format, indicating safe zone, indicating what you have not cited, indicating possible plagiarism, etc., etc.
And
thank you, sir. Thank you.
We're going to post this video on HRD TV, and on HRD TV, we also have Turnitin instructional videos, again, facilitated by the library. You can
other videos on the library's page is the same, so you can also check those out, meaning how to access your Unilink or how to access another database, etc. So if it is that you have some time on your hand that you didn't want to call anybody else and you want it to be your own learning, then you can watch these videos, you can use these. Two, the APA Citation Manual is also, if you are a touchy-feely kind of person who likes to touch documents to use, that's where you function, then you can go to the library and you can borrow the APA Citation Manual itself and you can use it. All right?
Mr. Duncan, I'm not sure if you mentioned the indentation already.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Sorry, thank you so much. The indentation on our page here, it is when you are on your reference page, putting in your reference list, then you would indent any line after the first line by 5. Meaning, let me use an actual example. Let me see if I can pull up a Microsoft Word document. Bear with me for a minute. Let me open a Word document.
I believe it's also said that we can indent to the third letter of the first line.
Third to the 5th letter of the first line. There you go. 1 second before. Use this one. Oh no, I may actually use an article. All right, so I have to change. 1 second, let me just change the screen. All right. You see my screen?
Yes, we are.
Yes, yes, sir.
All right, so like I said, I'm an actual do-it-yourself kind of person. So when I input this here, let me just take it back. What I would do is I would just highlight after I type it, and I do the indentation on my own. This here, you see me moving this little, I don't even know what to call it here at the top. You guys seeing it?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I would just set it at the 3 here, and I just fix it for myself, and then anything else afterwards I put afterwards. I just press enter, and the format is replicated. So you would not need afterwards that's 1 or 2. If after you have, you can write up a list before and write it up in, as long as you put the format as it is, then you can 1, do this here, control and select all of it, use your A to Z and organize it in the alphabetized listing, and then when you use this here to fix it, it fixes everybody one time. So it's indented one time. So you don't have to go back and press enter and then go down again. Fair enough? So you can 1, after you input each one, you can manually do it. You can manually indent your 3, or you can wait until after you have completed your entire reference list, and you highlight all, and then you fix it in one go. Now, I know that Microsoft Word would give you, like I said before, like the gentleman asked earlier about the citation generator, that it would give. Please, even if you do use it, see, I'm even submitting, even if you do use it, ensure that you go back on the authority to ensure that all elements in your citation are captured. Fair enough?
Sir, that first article that you have there, what type of article is it?
Well, this is something that I'm editing, to be fair, so it's not in 100. It's an academic journal. ACRL, that's Research Planning and Review Committee. So this is something that I'm reviewing to send back.
Okay, because I'm seeing quotation marks.
Aha. Oh, somebody else. Hey, wonderful. I feel so good. Somebody learned in the little time here so they can correct this article for me. I would mind if I could send it to you and you could, There are more than one thing's wrong with this. These here.
Yeah.
There's a difference here with this one. There's a PP and there's a none here. So you know which one so there's a few things that are incorrect with this one. It's like I was saying to you before. This is an aspect of the job of a regular librarian. They would have to scrutinize a paper. And these are what we have to do. Go through to ensure that, like I said to you before, sometimes persons just get information and just put it down without much regard for how it is placed on 1, 2, the entirety of the information that you put inside of it.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that you're able to just see that with one go and realize that something is wrong with it. Ms. Thomas, over to you.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
Oh, Mr. Howard, I'm saying over to you. So if anybody has, there are any more questions, if it's anything that you want me to go over, if anything that you want me to go in more detail, please let me know.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that give it a week or two, maybe your next assignment, work on your next assignment. And if everybody feels uncomfortable with that, then we could do another session.
Fair enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, it only remains for us to say thank you very, very, very much. We know that none of us is really employed to be working at 7 o'clock, but you gave up your time to work with us in the HRD unit, and for that we are extremely grateful. So thank you so much, Mr. Duncan, and thank you to the students who have also come out, because it's been a long week and they're still here with us. I'm pleased that there are so many people who are interested in doing well here. All right, so applause.
The pleasure is mine. The pleasure is mine. And as usual, my email address is in the chat and it's with your lecturer. So please shoot me an email if you need any assistance. I'm here to serve.
All right.
Thank you very much. I just like to second the appreciation. I'm not sure if how many persons like myself have been out of the system for a while. So this is a good refresher and reminder. And also thank you to Olivine for being so proactive to getting things started so early so we can use it throughout our time and our studies. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, all right, no problem.
You're welcome.
The not the HRD, the University of the West Indies has something or someone to help you with every single problem that you could encounter as a student. University of the West Indies overall is committed to you doing well here. So we have resource persons. It's just for us to know that you have a problem so that we can identify the solution. So again, we say it, if there is a problem, just let us know. All right. So, well, good night, folks. Thank you so much. I'm going to post this by this evening, by tonight. I don't think it will need any editing, so I'll just post this and you'll be able to watch it again if you wish. So thanks a lot. Bye.